So perhaps we can start, although I can imagine that other people will join in the next minutes. But okay, let me start first of all by welcoming you to this presentation, which is essentially the presentation of the 4th edition of Foscari Master in Science and Management of Climate Change. My name is Enrica Cian, and I am a professor in environmental economics at the Department of Economics at Foscari. And I have been coordinating the first 3 editions of this master, also with the support of Malcolm Mistry, who's also here with us today. And today we also have Wilmer Pasut, who's a professor in energy at the Department of Environmental Science, Informatics and Statistics at Foscari. And Wilmer will actually be coordinating the 4th edition that will start in September. So the plan of this hour we will be together is the following. I will start with a few words about our program. And then today we also have the opportunity to listen to Andrea Maggiani, who is the founder and the CEO of a consultancy company, Carbonsink. I will say more about that in a few minutes. And the idea is essentially to have the viewpoint and the contribution of the private sectors, that is of a part of the economy that is actually looking for the type of professional profiles that we are preparing with this master. After that, Wilmer will spend more time going into the details of the program, showing you what are the courses and how the program is articulated. And after that, we will have quite some time for receiving your questions and answering your questions. Okay, before starting, I just wanted to say that this master is a relatively recent initiative. We are now presenting the 4th edition. We started in 2018. And it sees the collaboration between 2 departments, economics and environmental science, informatics and statistics. And it also has the support of the Euro-Mediterranean Center on Climate Change, which is a research center focusing on climate change that is based in Venice, but also in other cities around in Italy. So the master itself is pretty new, but it actually builds on the experience that we have developed for more than 10 years with a PhD program on a similar subject. Indeed, it's called the PhD in Science and Management of Climate Change. So we started first with a PhD program in 2007. So we have graduated almost 80 students. And the program has been quite successful. It has grown over time. I can say that our PhD students who graduated from the PhD program, they found employment not only in the academia, which is quite natural for a PhD, but also in the private sector and in international organizations. Then, given the success of the program and also in response to the growing demand also from the labor market, the private sector, we have decided also to offer a 1-year master. It's a master of research, meaning that you will be following the same courses as the PhD student. So our master student and PhD student are together, they follow the same courses. But essentially, the master program will last only 1 year. You will have an internship, and then after that, you will be ready to go to enter the job market, essentially. So this is a little bit of our story. I can also say that if you had the chance to look at the curriculum of the faculty members, you can also see that the profile of the teaching faculty is already a guarantee of high quality, because several of the faculty members have been involved in the IPCC. Many of them are involved in international research activities. We have collaboration with many international organizations, universities in different countries. So we have a strong and well-developed network of international contacts, which is also helpful when it comes to also thinking about your internship. Okay, I don't want to spend more time on this, and I would like actually to introduce Andrea Maggiani, and essentially today he will bring the experience of Carbonsink, which, as I said before, is a consultancy firm specialized in corporate decarbonization and climate risk management. It is based in Italy, but it also operates abroad in other countries, specifically in Mozambique. Carbonsink was born as the spin-off of the University of Florence, and Andrea Maggiani has also more than 10 years of experience in the field of climate strategy design, carbon finance mechanism, and carbon project development. Okay, so the idea, Andrea, it would be great if you could help us today to understand a little bit how the private sector is actually confronting the risk, but also perhaps exploiting the new opportunities that are arising out of the climate crisis. And perhaps we could start by understanding a little bit better the history of Carbonsink and what Carbonsink does. Andrea, now the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Enrica, and it's a pleasure to be here today and be part of this open day for the master. I think it's really important to start. I think to briefly how this process come, because I think it's quite similar to the background also of research and study in climate change. Because the Carbonsink, as you say, is beginning its history as a spin-off from Florence University, and is really a spin-off from Department of Land and Science of University of Florence. And the idea at the beginning was really to bring the expertise from the research of different PhD and professor from Florence University, and creating a consultancy firm that can really support a company in their, I would say, journey to net zero, carbon neutrality, really the transition and decarbonization. We really start the activity inside of the Florence University in 2012. And I would say our first client are really big energy, or let's say heavy emitters company. And the reason why it's clear is because the materiality of climate change for this type of company by the time was really important. The development of Carbonsink in the last, I would say, 5 years was really crazy in terms of how the business react, how different sector will be involved in the discussion of climate change. But just to go back, Carbonsink is focused and specialized on, as you say, in climate strategy first, but really the idea is to have a really specialized approach, but also try to cover all the aspects related to the climate change for corporate. So I can say that Carbonsink has really an end-to-end approach, and this could be divided in two main areas: climate strategy for corporate, where we really support company in their analyzing assessment of the GHG inventory, understanding scope 3 emissions, climate risk and scenario analysis, designing of also adoption area for different sectors is also something that we are doing quite a lot, but also definition of physical and transition risk, but also opportunities, price linked with that, and really try to understand and quantify the financial exposure of this risk, because you need to consider that more and more the company need to prove that their business model will be resilient in the future, even under the effects of the climate change. So this, I think, is really an important point. But also we're supporting quite a lot of companies in their climate related disclosures, such as, for example, CDP. CDP, I don't know if all the people knows what it is, but it's, I would say, the most important rating system that we try to understand how companies are developing their climate strategy and give them a rating that can range from F to A, where the A is the top class in terms of climate related disclosure and scoring. But also I think it's quite important that we consider that more and more companies are looking also for tool in terms of climate analytics tool for analyzing their decarbonization strategy, but not only on the medium term, but also on the long term, because we need to consider that more and more we have sector where the decarbonization process take maybe 10, 20, even 30-year cycle. So this, I think, is quite an important point. In addition to that, I think also we have another division working more on a carbon project side, where basically we work more on a clean development mechanism or carbon market mechanism to support company imbalance their emissions. So in these cases, we have a specific division that try to support company in defining project that can reduce, remove, or avoid CO2 that can be integrated in their strategy. Yeah, in general, the type of expertise that we have in the team are researchers that are specialized in, of course, in agriculture or land science, but also people that have a big, I would say, experience in data analysis and analytics of specific type of inputs and data. This is really important, specifically if you're looking at a big amount of data when we're talking with big company, for example, analyzing their supply chain, Scope 3 emissions. In that case, we need to have that type of expertise. I was in the last 3 years, we also starting to have on board engineer, people that have experience in energy engineering, but also experience on management, really, because that is quite important to have people that have knowledge also on how the company and which is the process within a different type of company. So I would say that the people who are working in Carbonsink range from really big specialized people on climate change through people that have experience on climate, on economics and management. So we have different type of people in the team. The company are 2 offices, one in Milan and one in Florence. As you say, also we have an office in Maputo that is an hub for overseas different projects that we have for different type of company working with us. The sector that we work in is quite, of course, as I say, we are really specialized company, but we support really different type of businesses, so from utility, oil and gas, and so on. So I think that's...
Yeah, that's very interesting. So you mentioned that you mostly work with firms and companies in the most energy and carbon intensive sectors. I was just curious to understand whether are they mostly Italian companies, or do you also work with the multinational or companies that are actually based?
Yeah, I would say that at the beginning, our clients are mostly based outside of Italy.
Okay.
But in the last 5 years, we see a growing increase also for international companies. So we have a broad range of different companies. And also we see a big shift from the big emitters, but also now to consumers, and fashion, and other type of sector that try of course, to rise their ambition on climate strategy.
And do you see like a growing demand also from Italian company, or not so much?
I see. What is really the point now is that we see that the financial sector asks more and more to the company to be transparent on their climate strategy, on their reduction targets, and so on. And this, of course, when the financial sector and the investor come into to play a role in this, that's of course changed everything, because more and more company needs to do that if they want to have access to specific type of investors. Or, for example, now you can see a lot of discussion around green bond, climate bond, and this is something that if you want to have access to that, you need to have a really clear climate and decarbonization strategy in place.
Okay, so from your experience with Carbonsink and the interplay with the many clients and companies, so I mean, now it's pretty clear, especially with the pandemic, the recovery plans, the fact that we are in a transition, in a phase of a transition. Okay, you can call it energy, ecological, whatever, but it's really an historical moment of big transformation. Is the job market keeping up with this rapid change, rapid transformation? Is it adjusting? Are there like a call and the demand for new type of professional profiles that can actually
Yes, thanks for this question. I see in general that I read a lot of articles on this topic, and it seems to me that, of course, they are different, not type of article, but in general they talk about millions of new job positions for new green jobs in Europe and also even in other countries. But for me, what is clear is that if we need to deploy an investment in energy efficiency, green heating, renewable energy, zero emission transportation, using new type of energy system, but even the discussion around the infrastructure for clean hydrogen, all this topic, I think, needs to have new type of expertise in place. People that knows about climate change, but also people knows about what means decarbonizations. New type of engineer will come into play, and I think this is quite a key moment for try to specialize in this type of sector. So I would say not in sustainability, because sustainability I think is too general, but what we need is a specific type of profile that are able to really to deploy, to make all this investment reality, in terms of operations and project management. I think this required a huge amount of experience on that.
And following up on what you just said, so I think you had the chance to look a little bit at the master program and the type of courses that we offer. My question, I would like to understand whether our master program is actually ready to and is able to actually to contribute to prepare people who want to actually enter into the job market now and address these challenges related specifically to decarbonization, energy transition.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's a really good question. I think one of the key aspects for the development of Carbonsink are, of course, people. And when I talk about people, I think for us is key, crucial, and also critical to find people that have expertise in climate change. But when I say expertise on climate change, I'm talking about expertise in terms of really capability and knowledge about, I would say, data analysis, what means climate risk, able to really get into the market and really understanding what is the needs of the clients without doing like a year training to understand it. Because now a classic consultant that we have in Italy are consultants that maybe have done an expertise on reporting, on non-financial disclosure reporting, for example. But it's quite complex to find people that have expertise, for example, on technologies, on decarbonization aspect, such as even analyzing the data from emission data, informations about scope 3 emission and so on. So if I look on this, I think it's crucial to have masters like the one where we are presenting today, for I think mainly two reasons. Because when you get into the job, like for example in Carbonsink, and you start working, the advisory services activity go really quickly. So you need to have at least the basic knowledge that also helps you to study. Because of course, the first things that we ask to people is, are you willing to study when you get into Carbonsink? Because it's quite crucial that the people are able to analyze documents, study new opportunities, understanding how we can offer to our clients an interesting solution. So it's required that the people have capacity to study, but also if you don't have a specific and strong background, you are not able to study what is required. So you're unable to evolve in the team. So this for us is quite crucial. To find people with a strong background on climate is quite a crucial aspect. And I can say that it's quite, in Italy, we don't have a lot of this type of people. So now what we try to do, but it's the reality, we try to see if there is Italian, for example, from working in other company abroad, and try to make them come back to work in Italy, for example. So this is something that we try to do quite often, because it's really complex to find resources in Italy with that type of expertise.
Okay, yeah, I should say that when we started the PhD program, okay, it was more than 10 years ago, but we were really the first to put together a program which was combining economics, social science, and climate science. Of course, a student who's taking this program is not expected to become an expert of climate science, is not expected to become a climate scientist, but we prepare people so that they can have a deep understanding. They are able to synthesize and communicate not only the biophysical and scientific aspect of climate change, but also the socioeconomic dimensions. So hopefully more people coming out from this master will also
I really believe that this master's is really important, even for sure, to prepare people to, I would say, the next generation jobs, for sure.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. I just want to check whether there are some questions for Andrea on Carbonsink, on his experience. If you want, you have the opportunity to ask some questions now. Give me just a few seconds to see if anyone would like to ask a question to Andrea.
Yes, good morning.
Maybe you can say just a few words about yourself. And then...
Okay, so I'm Chiara, I'm from Milan too. I live in Brazil at now, and I have a background on law, so I would like to know if there is a place and a space for people who are have a preparation in law, and so the part of policies, regulations, and the legal standards that have to be respected, and all this.
So thank you, Chiara, for this question. Yes, I think in general that what for the law perspective we see. Of course, regulation in climate change space are critical, because we see directive every day come out for different sectors, new initiative, policies and so on, you need to consider that, for example, we are part of this association called International Emission Trading Association. And one of the specific role of them is really to keep us updated. Every day we're receiving new updates on what is the new policies on climate change around the world. And of course, this is a crucial role for us, because from this type of regulations directive, we understand also new opportunities, even for Carbonsink, but more important for our clients. So I would say that this type of expertise are quite crucial, I think, even to understand the exposures. For example, when we study climate risk, for example, for company, of course, the aspect of transition risk in terms of policies and directive is also an important aspect to monitor. For example, how is the evolution of the emission trading system, which is the effect of that in terms of carbon pricing. So if tomorrow morning we have this market stability, if we have the market stability reserve come into place, then it's easy, then the price of the CO2 goes up. That's what happened in the past in the emission trading system. So if we monitoring that and we have people with that type of expertise, for sure that is crucial for a specific type of activity, even within a consultancy firm like us.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. So
there is a question in the chat, I think.
Okay, yeah, here is. Okay, yeah, I think, Andrea, you can assist with the question. Okay. What is the most challenging and stimulating part of your job?
I think it's the uncertainty. So I would say that sometimes we don't have a fixed answer to the request of our client. And I think it's quite important to be able to innovate. And that's the reason why our team is really a young team of consultancy. So we have almost everyone is under 35 in terms of in the advisory services, because I think it's quite important to have people that are willing to try to innovate and to propose new solutions for clients. Is quite important. So we don't see that we do everything the same things as a standardized process, but each client is different recipe in their climate strategy. So then the best part is that we don't have to do the same things all the time. So it's that we have every time different project, and this I think is quite interesting for us. It's an interesting space to work for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrea. I would now give the floor to Wilmer, who will enter into the core of the master.
So hello to everyone. Let me just share my screen before to start. So please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay. Yes. Good. So thank you very much. Thank you, Andrea, for your speech, and thank you, Enrica, for the introduction. So I will give you a bit more an idea about the contents of the master, this Master of Research and Science and Management of Climate Change. So my name is Wilmer Pasut. I'm a professor. I'm an associate professor at the University of Venice in the Department of Environmental Science, Informatics and Statistics. I deal with topics related to energy and buildings. So that is my area of research. Just these couple of words about me. About the master, I mean, I cannot think about any other topic that is more crucial today. Really, the topic of climate change is something that has roots on the past, on which we need to act today to have an impact for tomorrow. So really, we are looking at the full time scale. We are talking about something that is crucial now and something that is really a hot topic. So let me give you just an idea on the structure of the master. So the master lasts 1 year, and we have 2 different terms. The first term is we call it foundations, where really we try to provide you all the knowledge that you need to face the second term. So all the knowledge on top of which you build the rest of your understanding of your work in the second phase of the master. So for the second term, we have two main streams. There is the climate economics and finance, and climate modeling and impact assessment. So the foundation, as the name already tells you, is really, again, we have all those topics that are really at the base of your understanding of what come next. So we have mathematics, statistics, econometric and machine learning, climate dynamics, environmental and climate change economics, and climate of the past. And then we have an introduction to R. Then we have the two streams. We have one stream that is more on the economic side, so where we have we deal more with topics connected with the economics. So we have decision theory and multi-criteria analysis, CG and integrated assessment modeling, apply environmental economics and policy evaluation, domestic and international climate policy, climate finance, and then we have these two final courses that are new from this year. One is energy systems and technologies, and data tools and methods for earth science. The energy systems and technology, I'll be the teacher for that course, and I'm kind of glad about it. I'm glad we introduced this new course this year, because I think that really the topic of energy and the connection of it with climate change and so on is really crucial, and again, it's really a hot topic on which we need to know and deal with. The second stream is more on climate modeling and impact assessment. So we have we have less the economic side, we have more of climate modeling and so on. So we have chemodynamics, climate change, environmental quality, climate modeling and monitoring, risk assessment, and decision support system for environmental impacts of climate change, adaptive management of natural resources and agricultural system, climate damage modeling and assessment. And then we have the final two courses, which are similar, which are the same than the other stream. So we have several internship opportunities beside the Euro-Mediterranean Center of Climate Change. There are several other local opportunities with a couple of municipalities, but also with companies. And Andrea brought today his view on the topic, and so his company is listed as one of the local possibilities for internships. Plus, we have some international possibility, and here there is the full list. This list is growing. It's not a secret that we get contact. I mean, lately we have been contacted more often than usual by companies interested in collaborating with us, interested in being listed as a possible opportunity for internship. For example, we are now communicating with the Italian railway companies, so they contact us with some job opportunities and asking us to spread the news among the students of the past edition. So the topic is something that is more and more interesting for companies. So it's something that we need to consider, and we are glad of this increased interest from companies, both Italian and international companies. A bit the master in short, the master by number. So the call is published in April, and the deadline is for the subscription is July the 14th. The lectures start in September of this year and will end in May of the next year. The requirement is you need to hold a second cycle degree and an English B2 level. You don't need to have a certificate of your English level, but of course it's something that will be evaluated during the interview that we will hold. study support, we have 3 waivers for the second installment. Basically, the fee will be paid in 2 installments. The 3 waivers will cover the second installment. The selection will be based on CV qualification and based on the interview that we will have. For information, this is the full list of contacts that you may decide to reach. Again, I do believe that now is the time really for a master like this. Yesterday, I was attending a workshop where the Minister of Ecological Transition, the Italian Minister of Ecological Transition, announced an investment of 80 billion in 9 years to reach what was scheduled and promised at the European level in terms of reduction by 2030. So a lot is moving. There is a lot of interest around the topic. So please feel free to contact us and let us know if you have any question.
Thank you, Wilmer. Let me only add that here in this slide, you see the email of 3 former students and who are actually available to give you any information from the perspective of former and actually current students. So you can actually get in touch with them if you want to also have the opinion of the students who have taken the program and who are following the program. So these emails, we have asked them, and you can write them to us for information. Yes, regarding the call for application, usually it comes out in April, so it should be this month, probably toward the end of the month. But please stay tuned and check out the website of the master program, where the information will be updated as soon as the call for application will be published. We can also, I mean, we have your email, so we can also send you an email when the call will be published. We think that it will remain open until mid-June, so you will have actually quite some time to apply, and then the selection process will take place in July. Okay, now we are really here available to answer your questions. I can see Martina Venzo, she's asking if the master is full-time, is it in presence, distance learning? Good morning, Martina. So the master is actually meant to be...
Yeah, I write just to summarize, but thank you for the presentation, very interesting. And as I'm actually working, I want to understand if it is a full-time master or how is organized also the lecture. Thank you.
Yes, it is a full-time master. It's quite demanding, I should say. So it's a bit difficult to combine the master with, for sure, with a full-time professional activity. That's really difficult. Also because it's a master of research, so it is integrated with a PhD program. We expect it to be in presence, although of course it really depends on how the pandemic will evolve. This year we actually managed to be in Venice and to teach in class most of the time. We only had, I think, a couple of weeks of, let's say, online teaching. And anyway, we actually learned from the pandemic, and now basically our teaching activity takes place on 3 levels, because we teach in class, we record the lectures, so they are available also afterwards, and they're also in streaming. But having said that, you're expected to attend at least 80% of each class, and most of that will be in Venice. Okay, so we have two questions. One is the research topic could be related to marine environment? Yes. I mean, environmental science is a type of background that we often have. So we do have students from that background. So yes. The list of admitted students. So we plan to conduct the interviews in July. July. So by the end of July, we should be able to publish the list of the admitted students. So Nicola Giovanni is asking how many places we have, how many students can we take? So we can take 15 students. This year, this edition, we started with we have 9 students. So this is the number of students we accept, also because then on top of the master student, we also have the PhD students. So we believe this is a good number.
Yeah, it's a fairly new master that is keep growing, but we fixed the limit to 15.
Is it possible to apply even if I'm going to graduate by the end of July? I think yes. You can, yes, you can apply. Then there is a question about okay, so since the master is integrated with the PhD program, yes, actually there are students who after the master have applied for the PhD program. I should say that also the PhD program has become quite competitive, and even there the number of applications that we receive every year is growing more than in other programs, I would say. But yes, you can follow then after the master, you can apply for the PhD program. And of course, if you get accepted into the PhD program, you don't have to take the courses again. So essentially you would have a scholarship of 4 years for research, or you could take some additional courses in some other topics. But yes, it's not that you start from the second year, but essentially you have 4 years for research. Let's see.
And good morning. I have a question, if I can.
Yes, please. Good morning.
My name is Federica Bianchi. I have a background in environmental engineering. So I did my bachelor and my master at the University of Bologna. I wanted to ask, on average, from your experience, how many students did apply in the past for this master course? So you said that you have 15. You can hire 15 people. So I wanted to ask, how is the average for the demand for this master?
Yes, on average, we get application from, I would say, 20 to 30. Then we also, there is also a selection process. As you might have seen, well, as you might have noticed, the program has a focus, let's say a quantitative focus. So we believe that it is best to take this program if you have a background either in, so if you have some basic knowledge of mathematics and statistics. In the past, we had students from less quantitative backgrounds, such as international relations, political science, even humanities, who actually successfully completed the master program. So I'm not saying that it's not possible, it's going to be more challenging and more difficult, but if you're willing to do it, that's why starting from a process where we interview about 20 potential candidates, then we ended up having 9-10 students.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Malcolm, is there anything you would like to to add also from your experience as a deputy director of the past edition?
From my side, I just want to share a few experiences. So I've been the deputy coordinator for the previous so the current cycle as well as the previous cycle before that. And I will be stepping down after this I'll be relocating somewhere else. So I can say that, as Enrica already mentioned, the program, the intake of the students that we have received, the applications, has been quite impressive in the last 2 years. So it has been quite competitive. We have had a mixed bag of students applying, but most of them generally tend to have a decent amount of quantitative background in mathematics, statistics, even data analysis and economics. So if you believe that your quantitative skills are not up to the level that this course will demand, I would also suggest to prepare a bit in advance so that you do not struggle, should you be selected, you do not struggle in the initial stages of the coursework, because the program starts from day one and it's quite demanding with the coursework. The other point I would like to make is that while we do have the option of selecting this stream during the second term, where you bifurcate to those 2 streams that you were shown, nothing, in principle, nothing stops you from following the other courses if you manage to do so. Of course, time constraints as well as the overlap of the lessons, the lectures could overlap between the 2 courses, but out of your own curiosity and interest, nothing stops you from following the other courses and gain most out of it. And as far as the internship is concerned, and also this is something that was already covered during the presentation, we have expanded our partnership with various institutes, and it offers the students ample amount of opportunity to explore different internship roles, which probably they can not even have thought of earlier. And you will be appointed a tutor as soon as you start the master's. You will be appointed a tutor who would also be guiding you both during the coursework as well as far as selecting the institution for carrying out your internship activities. And I think, Enrica, we probably didn't mention very clearly about the report at the end of the internship. Maybe you would like to highlight what are the requirements for that, so that they're just clear, because probably they might be under the impression that it's more like a master's thesis itself. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Malcolm. Yeah, so basically after the courses usually end in end of May, early June, and then the students usually do the internship during the summer period, although actually some of them might have the opportunity to start a bit earlier. It's a 250-hour internship, and the final master thesis is not, let's say, a proper thesis, but it's more like a report based on the internship experience. This is also why we actually give not so many credits to the final thesis, because it's not like a standard master thesis you might be familiar with. Yes, it's also, we also forgot to mention about the tutor. So there will be a tutor you will be talking to. And also when it comes to deciding where to go for the internship, as Wilmer said, we have a starting and growing list of opportunities, but every year we also add new institutions, new companies, also based on the contacts of the students or the interest of the students, because we try to match the interest of the students with the with the internship opportunities. Okay, I can also add that, that this webinar has been recorded, and it will be published on the website of CMCC and also on the website of the master. So you can go back and listen again to the presentation, or in case share it with people who didn't manage to follow it today. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I think we can close the presentation here. Thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you for being with us. And please check the website of the master, but we will also send an email when the call for application will be published, which should be in the next weeks. Okay, thank you. Thank you also, Andrea. It was very insightful. And I hope we can work together in the future, continue to work together in the future.
Sure.
And okay, have a good day. And I look forward to perhaps seeing you during the selection process.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.